Okay. So let's go through chapter 6 story. All right. I think we didn't even read this out loud, did we?
Nope.
No.
Never.
Okay.
We never went over this once.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Okay. Why don't we... Who would prefer to... Okay, two choices. Popcorn read or repeat after me. Raise your hand for popcorn read.
Popcorn.
Like, people pick on each other to read. Like, you read a little bit and then you pick on someone random. Okay, raise your hand for repeat after me. Wow. What are you guys, nervous or something?
Outstanding result.
Okay, so we'll repeat them. All right, we'll take it in bite-sized chunks. Here we go. Is that a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it yesterday's homework?
You, from Friday's homework, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Non dum lucet.
Non dum lucet.
Sed Cornelia surgit.
Sed Cornelia surgit.
Et. Per villam ambulat.
Per villam ambulat.
Ad hoc. Dormiunt pater et mater et Marcus.
Dormiunt pater et mater et Marcus.
Etiam. Sextus dormit.
Sextus dormit.
Neque Corneliam vexat.
Neque Corneliam vexat.
Non tamen.
Non tamen.
Dormiunt servi et ancillae.
Dormiunt servi et ancillae.
Omnes surgunt.
Omnes surgunt.
Et laborare parant.
Et laborare parant.
Yeah, sorry, we're going to change that because that's not supposed to be an E. It auto-corrected.
Oh,
Stupid.
What is it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be parant, not parent.
Parant?
Parant, not Parent. Yeah, for some reason it just auto-corrected that. So that should not be parent. That should be... Let's make that mildly slimmer. Sorry. Parant.
Oh, I thought that meant parent in the original.
Yeah, no, sorry. Sometimes, it doesn't always do that, but sometimes it autocorrects and it's like super inconvenient when it does. Because it's like in a spot that I'm never going to see until we get to it. And that's embarrassing. Okay, so we said that. Quod. Cornelium. Et Aureliam timent. Okay, let's keep going. Cornelia ancillam. Nomine siram. Observat. Quae villam purgat. Et alteram. Nomina thressam. Quae cibum coquere parat. Alright, now I'm just going to draw a quick attention here, right? So remember how we just like corrected that up here, parant. Alright, that's singular or plural, everybody?
Plural.
Blue. I heard like mixed reviews. Let's try that again. Parant, nt, singular or plural? Plural. Alright, and down here we've got the singular form, parat. Okay, so it's the same verb, just sorry about the autocorrect. Okay, keep going. Multiservimox. In agros curunt. Ubi strenue laborant. Aquam e vivo in villam portant. Okay, we're making these chunks a little bigger. You guys are doing pretty well. Yam. Surgunt Cornelia et Aurelia. Cornelius petit davum. Qui in horto est. Iratus subito est Cornelius. Davum reprehendit. Quod. Sub arbore sedet. Neque laborat. Davus. Ubi Cornelium audit. Statim surget et laborare parat. Aurelia Cornelium docet. Vilam curare. Huh. That should actually be.
Yeah, should the U be an A?
Yeah, that's another typo. Man.
Also, when it says like Yam Sturgant Cornelia et Aurelia, should the Cornelia be Cornelius?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's talking about Cornelius
That's
rather than.
Cornelia
Yeah.
right, Boca.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so up here. Oh my goodness.
Textbook and it is Cornelius.
Okay, so let's fix that. Cornelius. That's up there. And this should be Cornelia with an A. Oh, great. Okay. So we fixed the typos. But it should, but all in all, that won't, I'm sorry. The bottom one is Cornelium with an AM, sorry. But otherwise, it shouldn't change your translation, just the person we're talking about is going to be different. Okay, yeah, okay, so we got that part. Ankilai Wilam Purgant. Hibum kokunt. Lanam trahunt. Reprehendit Aurelia Ankilas. Si ignawa sunt. Matrem observat Cornelia. Et omnia quae mater facere parat. Matrem adiuvare vult. Sed ipsa neque servum neque ancilam reprehendit. Serviet ancilae nunc strenue laborant. Neces est neque servum neque ancilam reprehendere. Okay, so who had fun? Wasn't that great?
That was so fun.
Yeah, you guys had a great time? Okay, awesome. That's all we want, right? Here to have a good time? Okay, so let's go through the markup. Let's go through the translation. I'd like to just kind of do away with this and then move on to chapter 7. I'm just so excited, if that's okay. And hopefully you guys will be too.
I'm sorry, but why?
Why?
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to be excited to,
I'm like, why are you excited of chapter 7?
because then we get to use technical terms.
I thought it's because then they can go through row.
Well, I mean, I guess that's exciting.
Nobody can.
Okay, so this first sentence here, from nondum to ambulat. All right, who would like to give me their markup? Actually, no, I'm just going to cold call, I think, because that is always hilariously fun. Tiffany, what you got?
Cornelia as the subject, and Sergio as the verb, Villain as the direct object, and the
And ambulat is the verb. Okay. All right. Genevieve, are there any things you would like to change, or anything that you think might be non-so? No? All right, Jack, help me out here.
Pervilam is it's a prepositional phrase.
Pervilam is a prepositional phrase. Okay, and that's okay. So if the per was not there, it would be a direct object. But because we have our preposition there, this is a prepositional phrase. Look at that beautiful circle. Isn't that nice? I forgot. I didn't realize we should do that. I learned that today. Okay. Don't really worry about marking up non dum lucet. But if we had to put a name to what that is, do we know what that would be called? Do we know what we would call it? Did we talk about those?
Sorry.
Similarly to like neces est,
Oh, so
or
like improper.
you're close. You're close.
In,
It's called an impersonal.
oh,
Impersonal. Right? Like, it is proper to do something. Right? It is proper. Okay? The subject, there really isn't one. It's just this unattributed it. Okay, similar thing here, like it is not yet light, right? It is the subject, but it's kind of just some like nebulous whatever. Eh? What?
Oh, I was just saying, I kind of like forgot it. It was in the back of my head, and I just remembered it.
Oh, I forgot about the impersonals. That's okay. They don't come up terribly often. But necessa est, I think that's probably the most popular one. Okay. So I think this markup looks good. Who'd like to give me the translation? Clinton.
Alright. It is not light yet, but Cornelia gets up and walks through the house.
Yep. Okay. It is not yet light, but Cornelia gets up and walks through the house. Okay. Any questions on that? I should probably use a different color to highlight, shouldn't I? So we can actually see. I'm gonna make it slightly thicker. Okay, next. Question or
Got a
mark?
question.
Okay, sure, what's up?
Could you say not yet it is light instead of like what you just said?
Ooh, not yet it is light. I would say,
That doesn't sound like clean though.
so I see what you're trying to stay close to the Latin, but in this particular instance, it just makes more sense to say it is not yet light. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but good question though. Okay, next, from Adhoc to Marcus. Who's got the markup? Jason Q. What we got?
So, like, pater et mater et Marcus is the subject.
Okay. Pater and mater and Marcus. All right.
I guess dormant is the verb.
You guessed correct. Nice. Okay. Yeah, and Adhoc, don't worry about marking that up, and et, don't worry about those either. Okay. Translation. Timjin.
Father, mother, and Marcus are still sleeping.
Okay, good. The father, the mother, and Marcus are still sleeping. All right, quick review question. Is there a Latin word for the?
No.
Is there a Latin word for a or an?
No.
No, so can we supply them?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, but are we allowed to add any other words?
No.
No.
No, wait, we are allowed. We are allowed to add auxiliary verbs. Like, they are doing something.
That's true. That is true. We are allowed to add auxiliary verbs, but but in terms of like,
Real words.
yeah, like if there's not a wolf in a sentence, I can't just say that there's a wolf there, kind of idea. Okay, but good pickup. All right, from etiam to wexat. Kingbo, what do we got?
Sexus is the subject, dormant is the verb, cornelium is the direct object, and vexat is also the verb.
Nice. Okay. Looks good to me. Translation. Zach, okay.
Even Sextus sleeps and does not annoy Cornelia.
Yeah, even Sextus sleeps and does not annoy Cornelia. No, okay, good. All right, next, from non tamen to ankylai. Jonathan, what do we got?
Dormian is the verb, servi is the subject, and ancilla is the subject.
Good. Okay. Translation, Amy.
However, the slave and the slave woman aren't asleep.
Okay. However, the slave and the slave woman are not asleep. Okay. Let's think about what was just said. Take a look at these endings here. We've got this I, we've got an AE, and in addition to that, right? Check out the end of dormi und. So, are we dealing with singular or plural, everyone?
Plural.
Plural. Okay, so Amy, can you rephrase that but make everything plural?
However, the slaves and
And
slave
women.
women,
Yes.
right,
What do they do?
aren't asleep.
Are not asleep. Good. Okay.
Could you say, however, the slave men and slave women do not sleep?
You could say it like that. By the way, this is like a huge pet peeve of mine, and I just want to bring it up so don't do this. Okay, in English, right? Woman. How many is that? One. How do I make it plural? Okay, women with an E. Okay, that's a big pet peeve of mine. Make sure you get your singulars and plurals, guys. Yes.
Would there be a difference between saying are not sleeping and like aren't asleep or something?
I would prefer you don't use contractions. I would prefer you say are not asleep or are not sleeping. But good question. Okay. Any other questions so far? Yeah, Siri, what's up?
Is non-tamen appropriate conditional phrase or no?
Okay, so no, non is technically an adverb because it's going with the verb, it's just negating it. And then tamen is just like it's a connecting conjunction. Like however, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. But good question. Yeah, I mean, unless you're taking like a formal grammar class, like the way that I learned English grammar was through Latin. So some of you might have not had English grammar and you might fall in the same camp as I did. Yeah, Jade, what's up?
What is the translation for last sentence?
From non-tamen to ankila?
Sexist woman.
Okay, so etiam, even Sextus sleeps or is sleeping, que, and does not annoy Cornelia. Okay. All right, let's keep going from omnes to tement. Yeah, this is a wee bit of a longer one, but I think for this one I'll take a volunteer to mark up. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what am I going to do with omnes? What am I going to do with omnes? Not infinitive.
Because that would be two something.
Is it the subject?
Yeah, it's technically the subject. It's okay. We haven't really worked with those endings so far just yet. Okay, one more edit I'd like to make. Let's talk about this word here, laborare. Okay, it ends in an A-R-E, which means it's a type of verb. So you were right in telling me that it is a verb, but it's an infinitive. Good. Okay, quick review. What are the typical infinitive endings that we see, Zach?
You have ARE, ERE with and without a main pronoun, and then IRE with a main pronoun of the I.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, ARE, ERE, ERE, and IRE. Okay, and when you see an infinitive, what is the appropriate way to translate it? Tim?
Like to something.
To blank. Yeah, right, because remember, infinitive does not have a limit, right? So it kind of is like a verb that exists outside of time. Okay. Cool. Whoops. No, what is going on over here? Stop it. No. Okay. All right. Translation. I'll take a volunteer for this one as well because it's kind of a longer sentence. Jason, sure.
They all rise and prepare to work because they're scared of Cornelius and Aurelia.
Good. Okay, so let's go through that a little slower. All right, they all rise and prepare to work because they are afraid of or they fear Cornelius and Aurelia. Okay. Any questions? All right. Is it helpful to go through with like the highlighter so you see the word order as we go? Yeah. Okay. Clinton, question or high five?
I was gonna say that because I thought it said parent, I thought it meant like they all rise and prepare to work because they fear Cornelia and Aurelia's parents.
Ah. Okay. Well, so one of the words for parents is kind of funny. It's
I was looking it up in the book, and I was like, what is this word?
Yeah, yeah, it's, sorry about the typos.
It's alright.
I gotta be a little better about catching those. Okay, next from Cornelia. Oy vey, that's a long one. We're gonna go all the way to Parat. All the way to Parat. I'll take a volunteer for this one as well because it is slightly longer than our norm. All right, I feel like it's always the same people raising their hands. I guess that's okay. Zach.
So from it's yeah, okay. So Cornelia is your subject, and Keelan is your subject.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
What?
Oh wait, my.
So Cornelia is my subject. Ankilam is my what?
Oh, my bad.
Cornelius is asleep.
Wait, am I doing translation or am I doing markup?
Markup.
Yes. So when you put Ankilam, that is your subject. It's not subject, but you put S on it.
Mm,
Oh wait, yeah, it's in.
yeah, because remember, if it ends in...
It ends with an M, so I put a D.
Yep, it's okay. I know this gets kind of weird and technical. Alright.
Siren would be Dio.
Okay.
Observant, it would be verb.
Mm-hmm.
Pergat would be your verb.
Good.
Threson would be your subject. Sivan would be verb subject.
Mm-hmm.
Kokere would be verb. Same with Parat.
Okay. All right. Just a couple. So good first base. Let's kind of edit a little bit here. All right, Tiffany, what do you see?
The conqueror is the infinitive.
Okay, coquere is an infinitive, right? Because it ends in ere. Good pickup. Okay. Any other pickups here? Any other pickups? Jack, what do you think?
The styroom is a subject, it's not a direct object. That's the name of the second.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that for a second. Now, this is a little weird, but Siram is actually referring to Ankilam, so it has to be the same case. Yeah, no, it's okay. That's okay. Totally okay.
Well,
All right. Let's see. Other pickups. Rob, what do you got for me?
This is a question.
Sure.
So Serum is, does it end in an M because it has to become a direct object? What is the name normally?
Sira.
Serum.
Sira. Yeah, the name. So the two names that we're going to come across here are Sira and Thresa. Okay. What else do we have?
We should make Alvaram and Thresam Dios.
Alteram and what?
Thresam.
And Thresan. Okay, so we're going to change Thresan to be a DO. Okay, I also see another potential DO. Madeline, what do we got? Wheelam. Okay. Now, I guess if we want to get into the nitty gritty, yeah, let's talk about that. Oh, whoops, I went too far. Okay, have we heard of main clauses and subordinate clauses before?
Yes.
Have I talked to you guys about those a little bit? Okay, so we've got a couple things going on here. In English, my 10 honors people, if there's anyone in the room. Do you know what these types of subordinate clauses are? Like I saw the teacher who went to the store. If it's relating information back to something in the main clause, what kind of clause is relating? Tim? A relative clause, yeah. So technically speaking, all right, quai wilam purgat and quai kibum kokore parat are both relative clauses, right? I'll write that so you can see what that is spelled like. Okay, a relative clause is simply just a clause that relates information back to the main clause. It is a type of subordinate clause. What's a clause? Good question. How do you define a clause? All right, Tim.
A sentence that contains a complete subject and a complete predicate.
A complete subject and a complete predicate. Okay. Right, because then it wouldn't, yeah. Okay, I'd buy that. So essentially, like let's take in English, for example, like Sira, ate cheese. Okay, that is a type of clause. That's a main clause, right? I could say Sira ate cheese, and that makes total sense on its own as an independent thing. But I can't say like Thressa. Well, let's do it this way. Okay, Sira, who drove the car, ran into the teacher. So in this particular example, we've got two clauses. All right, we've got one main clause or independent clause that stand on its own. All right, so if I could say, Sira ran into the teacher, right? That sounds fine on its own, like it doesn't need anything else. But we have another clause in here, who drove the car, right? Unless that's a question, it sounds like it's missing something. Okay, that's why we call it a subordinate or a dependent clause. It needs the support of the main clause in order to stand and make sense. Okay, so this in English, who drove the car, that's what we call a relative clause. It's relating information about Sira back to her, and she's part of the main clause. Does that kind of make sense a little bit? Okay, I haven't formally taught this to you, and you won't actually technically learn this for a while, but I do want you guys to kind of just start thinking about these kinds of things. So I won't test you on that, but I don't know, it's kind of useful. Okay. So translation. Translation. Why is Siri talking to me?
Siri wants to translate for you.
I don't like that. Yes. Okay, stop. No.
Siri cyber attack.
Yeah, for real. Who'd like to translate? Oh, okay, more hands this time. All right. Jade, okay.
Cornelia watched the slave woman named Sarah, which cleaned the village, and the other one named Teresa, which prepared to cook.
Okay. So yes, sense-wise, you totally got everything. I do want to make a couple edits here, so let's work through that. So Cornelia observes or watches, present tense, the slave woman named Sira, Kwai, who cleans the villa, and understood Cornelia observes the other, the alteram, okay, named Theresa, who prepares to cook the food.
So what would be the full sentence? Cornelia watches
So Cornelia watches the female slave
the
named Sira,
slave named Sira,
who cleans the house,
who cleans the house,
and another named Thressa,
and another named Russell,
who prepares to cook the food.
who prepares to cook the food.
Good. Okay. Next. Multi-servi to laborant. Now I'm going to cold call again. Dora, I actually haven't heard from you today, so let's give it a shot, shall we?
Multi is
Sorry, what'd you say?
multi is nice.
Okay. Is multi going with something? Does it have a similar looking ending somewhere?
Current is verb.
Okay, current is verb.
And agros is circle.
Okay, in agros is circle. All right. Okay. The only thing we did not contend with is laborant over here. What am I gonna do with that? Verb, good. Okay. And multi is going with what? Serwi, good. Okay, so our subject is multi serwi here. Okay, translation. Jason Q.
Many slaves soon run in the fields where they work strenuously.
Okay, good. Yep. All right, many slaves run soon in the fields where they work strenuously.
Could you say, soon many slaves run in the field where they work hard?
Yep. Yeah, that's probably better than what I said because, like, just throwing the soon in there, like, just kind of sounds silly. I just totally forgot about it for a second. Yeah. Oh, you're just stretching? Okay, Clinton?
May I do the more something?
Okay, so the translation for that would be, soon many slaves run in the fields where they work strenuously. All right, next, from Aquam to Portant. Tim L., what's my markup?
It's for me. I wrote Cornelia actually.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What's my markup here?
I did Arium is direct object reporting to the and in VM is a position
Okay, and what did you say about Aquam?
direct object.
Okay, and what about a rewo?
Also a direct object.
Mm.
Oh wait, no, never mind. I did not do anything about that.
All right, does anyone have anything to offer? Genevieve? Oh, subject. Ooh, Alice? It's a prepositional phrase. Yeah, because of the presence of that E, that letter E.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay. That was a little tricky. Okay.
Your chair is wearing a life vest.
I know, the chair is safe. Okay. So who... Wait a second, Miss Slade. This is weird. There's no subject in this sentence. It's implied. Who is the subject, guys?
The slaves.
The slaves, right. Okay, so the slaves what? What do they do? Who'd like to translate that? Arwen.
They carry water from the stream to the house.
Good, they carry water from the stream into the house. Good.
So
Okay.
Could you say they or the slaves?
Well,
Or would you rather say they?
I would say they, just because technically the subject is not, like, the word for the subject is not.
Specifically defined.
Yeah, it's not, like, specifically in the sentence. Yeah, good luck with that. Okay. Yeah. Sure. They carry water from the stream into the farmhouse or into the house. Okay. All right, now we get to the interesting part. Jam Cornelius et Aurelia surgunt. Now what happens? I'm going to move a little quicker now. Now what happens? Jonathan. I'll give you your markup. Now who and who do what? Don't rely too much. Okay, so let's follow the highlighter. All right, so we've got two subjects, Cornelius and Aurelia. Okay, and they surgunt. Surgo, surgere. Surrexi, surrectus. Simple vocab. Someone want to bail him out? Tim? Rises, yeah, or gets up, right? Like resurrection. When you are resurrected, you rise again. Okay. Insurrection. All of these words are kind of related. Okay. So who is seeking what? Who is seeking what? Who is seeking what? Arwen, help me out here.
Cornelius is looking for Davis.
Yep. Okay, so Cornelius is looking for Davos. Qui in horto est. Jack.
Who's in the garden?
Yeah, who is in the garden? Okay. Now, we just talked about this. What kind of clause is who is in the garden? It's technically a relative clause. Okay, I won't test you on it, but just be aware that they do indeed exist.
Mr.
Clinton.
I'm so I didn't catch the translation for last sentence.
Yam sorgant.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yam now, Cornelius and Aurelia get up or rise.
Thank you.
Yep, okay. And Cornelius seeks Davos, who is in the garden. All right, and suddenly Cornelius is what? What is he, Genevieve? He's angry, right? Okay. Now, this is probably done to trip you up. How many of you would at first sight translate Dawum as my subject? I mean, it's the first word in the sentence, right? So it's got to be my subject, right? No! Not in Latin.
Word order doesn't matter.
Yeah, word order doesn't really matter. Latin is all about the endings. Okay, so what is Dawum then, everybody? Is it my subject or direct object? Good. Okay, so who's my subject of reprehended then? Cornelius, all right? Because in the previous sentence it was Cornelius, it just kind of carries over. All right, but there's somebody out already.
I mean, after that body.
Maybe. Maybe. Okay, so Cornelius, or he reprehends Davos. Why? Who'd like to give me the reason? Right?
He was sitting under a tree and not working.
Yeah, because he's sitting under a tree and totally not
He
working.
was slacking off.
Yeah, he's slacking off.
But isn't he the head of slaves?
Yeah, but even so, even if you're the willicus, you're still supposed to, the slave manager, like a farm manager.
Why did it say he was the head of slaves?
He must have read ahead.
Oh, you are.
No, you told us he was in charge.
Did I tell you?
Yeah,
he
you
was
told us he was in charge of the house.
Oh, yeah, maybe I did say that.
Wait, did you say, what is a willy
So the word for like a farm manager is a willicus. Yeah, you'll learn this word in a couple chapters, I think. But a willicus is essentially a farm manager. So if you think about it, right, the Roman aristocracy, they have houses in the countryside, and they're not there to always manage everything. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a bit, especially when we get to the end, right? But they kind of delegate people to manage things for them on behalf of them, all right? So that is what a willicus is. You asked. I didn't tell you to go to the bathroom. Dude.
You should start.
He went in the other backpack.
He went the other way?
Yeah. Said he went in the back.
And then proceeds to go to the water fountain.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, let's keep going. So Davos, though, ubi audit Cornelium, he statim surgited and parated to laborare. Who'd like to give me that? I think I'm going to start. What is he doing?
Go to the water fountain.
I'm not open now.
The outside box itself.
Not all the time.
Okay. All right, so who's got my translation for this? All right, Dallas, when he hears Cornelius start him, what does he immediately do? What does he immediately? Gets up and he parats to laborare. Prepares to work. Okay, now laborare. No, leave him. Laborare is what? It's an infinitive. Good. Do we know specifically what kind? The only kind we know, really.
The ARI.
Well, yeah, but what's the grammatical term? If it's completing.
Oh, a complimentary.
Complementary infinitive. Yes. Right. Functioning off of parat. Okay. Is he still standing there?
This is so sad.
You went to the water fountain? Or did you do both?
Yeah, I do both.
Oh, but you didn't ask for both.
Oh. Really?
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
Why do you have AirPod?
Because I'm recording the lecture.
Oh.
Yeah.
Using the microphone that
Yeah.
way?
Mm-hmm. That's how it picks up the sound. Otherwise, it would sound more like this. And it wouldn't pick up. Yeah. Okay. All right. So he gets up and he prepares to work. Now, we made an edit here. Okay. Aurelia is not teaching Cornelius to take care of the house. Who is she teaching to take care of the house? Cornelia. And who is she? The daughter. Okay. Now, the Ankilai are purganting the Wilam. What are they doing? They're cleaning the house, and they are kokunting the kibum. What are they doing? Cooking the food, and they are trahunting the lanam. Spinning the wool. Yeah, so the word trahunt, it comes from traho, traheret, traxi, tractus. Okay, it means it means to drag. Literally means to drag. And what do you do with the old tractors? You had to kind of drag them with an ox, right? Exactly. Okay, so that's how you can remember that. All right, now who is doing the reprehending in this next sentence? Aurelia is, and whom is she reprehending? The slave women, right? If they are ignawas, if they are lazy. We should remember that word. We should remember that word.
Working hard or hardly working.
Now, what is Cornelia doing? She's observing the matron. Watching the mother. Okay, and omnia. What is omnia? Everything. Now, we're getting smacked with this here. Quae mater facere parat. Oh, yeah. Yep. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so she observats everything.
That she goes to prepare.
No, okay. Oh, I see what's going on. All right, so we've got two chunks here. Let's take it like that. Yes. Okay. So what's my relative clause then, based on what Jason just said? Right? And she prepares to do everything which her mother does. What's my relative clause? Which words am I going to underline? We're going to start with quae, and where is my pen going to stop? Yeah. Okay, that's my relative clause. All right, so let's go through that a little slower so you guys can see where that goes. So Cornelia observat, she watches the mother, and Cornelia understood, prepares to do everything which the mother does. Okay, did everyone see how that worked? Okay, any questions on that? That was actually a little tricky. Yes?
This is actually a question for the sentence before it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I think maybe two sentences before. You said that the book does something different with the words for cowardly and lazy. It puts them in the same word. Do they have different words?
I would imagine so. I don't know them offhand, but I would imagine there are different words. See, Latin is kind of weird. So if you were to compare Latin and Greek, Latin is one of those languages that, like, you have one word and it can have like 50 different meanings. Greek is the language where you have like very specific words for 50 different things. So essentially, like, the vocab is more for Greek. The Latin, you have a little more leeway with like how you translate. And you have to, as the translator, figure out which meaning makes the most sense in the context that you're working with. Do I have tissues? Over there. All right, so who is my subject of Wolt here? Who's my subject?
It's implied.
It's implied, and who is it? Cornelia still. All right, so Cornelia wants to adiuare the matram. What does she want to do? She wants to help her mother. But, now, let's do anticipatory reading. We've got a but here. Are we going to anticipate a similar idea or a contrasting idea? Contrasting. Good. We're being critical readers. Okay, but what? She herself is my subject. What does she do? She reprehendits, scolds, neque servum, neque anquilam. Neither the slaves nor the slave women. Good. Now, you guys see how that works? Like the neque?
Yeah. So
Okay.
what would be the translate sentence? Cornelia was not her mother's
But ipsa, she herself, reprehendits. She scolds neither the slave nor the slave woman.
Now who does she scold?
She should scold Marcus or Sextus. Okay. But, so why does she not scold? Nunc, when is nunc? Now, the servi and the anchilai laborant strenue. What are they doing?
Working hard.
They're working hard. Okay, neces est. It is necessary to reprehend or scold neque servum, neque anquilam. Neither the slave nor the slave women. I don't know why. It's kind of weird that they make these singular. Doesn't that sound odd to you?
I would say it is not necessary to scold slaves.
Yeah.
I wrote
Yeah,
I translated
that's
them both
necessary.
to scold neither the slaves nor the slaves.
Yeah, these should be plural. I don't like that they're singular. It's kind of weird.
So it's saying that you should not scold.
So what would the translate sentence be? It is necessary.
It is necessary to scold neither the slave nor the slave woman. Yeah, so you have to, because the forms that they give you are singular, translate them singularly. Okay, even though it sounds funky. If I wrote this, I would have made them plural, but yeah.
What is the relationship between, like, she wants to help her mom, but she's still under this?
What are you asking?
How is that still connected?
How are we supposed to connect it? Well, so here we've got, right, here we learn that Cornelia is going to learn how to take care of the house. And she's watching her mom do all of these things. And it says here that Aurelia scolds slave women, if they are lazy. If they are lazy. Does that mean that they are indeed lazy?
No.
No. Okay, if they are lazy, right? So then we make the transition. Cornelia wants to help her mom, but she can't scold anybody because everybody's working. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to. Does that make sense? Okay, so if they were lazy, she would be scolding, but she doesn't have to because everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing right now.
Oh, so it's necessary to not scold them?
Yeah, it's a little weird. Like, it is necessary to scold neither the slave nor the slave woman.
Wait, so it's necessary not to scold, or would you say it's not necessary to scold?
I would say, because it's not non necessa est,
Yeah.
right? Because then that would be it is not necessary, right? So you'll start with necessa est. It is necessary, and we got to go straight to the infinitive to scold. Now this neque servum, nekwe antilam, because you have, here, let's take a look. Let's pretend we didn't do that. Okay, go away. Okay, because that's a direct object, and it's kind of bookend, like we've got nekwe, it's connecting those two things. It's going with the nouns rather than the verb.
So it's necessary not to scold them.
It's necessary to scold neither the slave nor the slave woman.
Yeah, I understand. Like, what is the name? What is trying to say?
So it's just trying to say it like it's not, it's, so in plain English it would be, it's not necessary to scold anybody. But because because the Latin's kind of weird, it's like,
So it is necessary.
yeah, it is necessary to scold neither these people nor these people. Okay, yeah, Jack.
Is there a subject in Latin?
Technically, no, because we've got necesse est, so what do we call that? It's an impersonal. So technically, the subject is it, but like some nebulous it. Okay, good question. All right, Tim L.
Why is the mother and the child the same guy?
Why is the mother and
And the daughter the same person?
the same person?
Yeah.
There's
They're all
Cornelia, one is Cornelius.
Oh, why do they all like Cornelius and Cornelia?
Oh, the other one's Cornelius? Wait,
Okay, wait, so,
What is
yeah,
Cornelius?
it's a little confusing.
Cornelius is the father.
The mom is the
The mom is
Aurelia,
Aurelia and
the dad is Cornelius, and the daughter is Cornelia.
Okay, so we got Cornelia, yeah, and then they've got two kids. Cornelia, who's the older sister, and Marcus.
Yeah, I was really confused.
And then over here, there's Sextus. Sextus is not related by blood. Sextus is technically a ward. So Sextus's mother died, and Sextus's dad is off fighting a war in Asia. So Sextus's dad was like, "Hey, I don't want my son growing up on the war front, so I'm gonna send him to live with you guys, buddies."
I don't want my son.
So it's like an adopted son kind of.
Where's Flavia?
Flavia is just a friend that's in the countryside.
And the
She lives in a neighboring villa.
What is a ward?
What's a ward?
Yeah.
How do I just, it's essentially like an adopted child. So like back in the old days, like let's say I was a queen and I'm friends with another queen and like we switch kids to be raised in like other courts. So you can kind of like,
That sounds so unnecessary.
I didn't make it up, dude. Like that wasn't my idea. I'm just saying that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think if anyone knows anything about King Arthur, right? I think Morgana technically was a ward of Uther Pendragon for a while.
Dracula.
Dracula?
Real life Dracula.
What?
He was like
Oh, I don't know about this. Go ahead.
basically his dad sent him off to be in the Turkish like court.
Yeah.
So he and he was kind of like the Sultan's son. So
Yep. Similar idea. In the Aeneid,
yeah, Vlad.
in the Aeneid, right? Isn't there a
Yeah.
Pallas? Pallas in the end, he was a friend of, like he was sent to a court in Italy and he like grew up there, right? So he was a ward of somewhere else.
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia, yes, yeah,
If the dad were to come back, would he take Sextus back or?
probably, yeah. But I guess, yeah, I don't know, the frontiers of the Roman Empire are pretty unstable, especially when you consider the fact that, like the way that the Roman army was, at first it was if you were wealthy enough, you could be in the army, and that was great. But then as the empire started to expand bigger and bigger, they needed more people in the army because they needed more people to kind of control what's going on and push those borders. And that's just like,
So Sextus' dad would probably die.
Oh, unfortunate.
maybe not, I don't know, it depends.
They had the wealthy people fight?
No,
They had
but
what?
if his dad doesn't die, then
At first, yes. At first, but then eventually they realized we need more people to like fill out this army, so we're gonna give you some like property, we're gonna give you some money. We need you guys to fight for us. And that's one of the reasons why the Roman Empire fell, is because they expanded too far, more than they could support with in terms of like military order. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any questions on this text? I would assume not.
Okay, Miss Slade, I have a question.
What?
Okay, if Sextus were to become an orphan, would he
Oh my
become a
goodness.
slave?
No.
Okay, yes.